Indian startups managed to find favor with Budget 2025 as Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman made a series of announcements aimed at the overall growth of the Indian startup ecosystem.
These are supported by the fund of funds set up with the Government of India's contribution of 10,000 crore rupees. Now, a new fund of funds with expanded scope and a fresh contribution of another 10,000 crore rupees will be set up.
A fresh infusion of 10,000 crore rupees towards the government's fund of funds for startups was perhaps the biggest takeaway from the union budget, simply because it comes at a time when VC funding has slowed and startups are starting to think outside the box to secure capital.
Development capital like SIDBI, other sources of capital, fund of funds was needed. Otherwise, you can talk about capex, but if you're not really getting capital down to the micro, small enterprises, startups, you don't really see the last mile push on job creation, growth on the ground, exports and all of that. What would be interesting to see is, what's the speed at which it is allocated and across what sectors. I think a combination of speed of execution along with a wider sector coverage is needed and needs to happen fast.
I think we need to first understand that the initial 10,000 crore corpus for the SIDBI fund and fund schemes has been a roaring success. While this was expected and there was a lot of expectation that we're going to see this another round, another tranche of 10,000 crores coming in, the fact that it did come is a very, very welcome move.
There were other timely announcements too, like a first of its kind deep tech fund, or the establishment of 5 centers of excellence for skilling, or a center of excellence for AI at a budgetary outlay of 500 crore rupees. But some feel there was scope for a lot more in terms of fiscal allocation on this front.
The fact that the government is recognizing, acknowledging that, we can't just be bystanders and see other countries, do all the things that they're doing. Now, 500 crores is a dip in the pond, but, a good start nevertheless.
I was honestly expecting more on the AI front. That's the flavor of the season. But that being said, there's only so much the government can do. I think the private sector should pick up more in terms of capex. Old corporate guards that have a lot of cash flow should invest more in AI.
A government-backed deep tech, fund of funds would be something that would be the need of the hour. That will sort of build and improve the investor confidence across the board. The government is seized of the fact that yes, we need to move the needle there. There is going to be a concerted inter-ministerial effort on the boost of AI.
However, a 5-year extension for startups to get incorporated, that is till 2030, and a rationalization of the TDS regime are being seen as net positive for the startup ecosystem, simply because it reduces the compliance burden on these companies.
It's great that they've done it, for a 5-year block at once. Otherwise, we've historically seen increments of 1 year and 2 years and everyone's waiting for the budget to see what will happen. Now there's clarity and certainty. Of course, I would have liked to see some of the limits go up as well, because the turnover limits, etc., which still prevent many startups from getting the benefits as they gain size.
Tax for the consumers, deep tech fund of funds, FDI on insurance going up 100%. I think these are some big bold moves, and that probably for me tilts the budget slightly more on the higher side.
So 7.5 to 8, you'd reckon?
Well, maybe in that zone, maybe closer to a 7.
So with more or less equal weightage being given for funding, compliance, AI and deep tech, Budget 2025 is widely being regarded as good news for Indian startups.
Thank you for watching us on CNBC-TV18. For all news and updates, subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch us on all social media platforms.